This is a this is a different man than I saw a few months ago.
Yeah, I was pretty upset last time.
Well, Ben, let's start with the fight last time. I mean, you know, I'll be honest with you. I thought you won the fight. I think
Thank you.
People did. Losing that fight, a tough decision like that, and you were already angry that week when you came in. I'll be honest, I was worried about you after that. What were the days and weeks after that fight like for you?
Well, I rewatched the fight. There was a period of time there, especially when I was on that win streak, I wasn't watching my fights or my opponents. And then after the junior fight, I was like, it would be wise for me to study a little more. So I started watching myself more than anything. You know, what are these guys watching? What, you know, these camps are investing a lot of time watching what I do. So pretty unpredictable and unorthodox, and I use that to my advantage. So I'm just trying to watch for all the little nuanced things that they do. And in this particular last fight, was not happy with my performance. I mean, that's a fight I should finish within the first or second round. I firmly believe if we would have had a 5-round fight like he had with Junior, I was going to finish him in the 4th round. I think there was no doubt about that. He was heavily fatigued. I shut both of his eyes, and I was feeling pretty good. I actually picked it up. I beat him by a 2-to-1 ratio in the 3rd round, but somehow the 2 of the judges gave him that round. It makes no sense. You know, all 3 scorecards were different. ESPN asked me to talk that night about it, and I didn't want to. It was too fresh, and I didn't want to come and just sound like I was complaining, because I've said for 20 years, don't let it go to the judges. Literally, since I started the sport, my amateur career was embedded in me. You don't ever let it go to the judges, and I've tried to stand by that. I don't like to win my fights that way anyway, so it is what it is. I mean, it was really unfortunate, even though I think I did do enough to win the fight. I just went back, and it was a different feeling. When I fought Junior, I clearly lost 5 rounds, and I didn't dispute that. I didn't perform well, and I could handle it. This fight was different because it was like so much media, and people were telling me I won the fight. Then I watched the fight, and I was like, I did win the fight. It was different because I took a loss, and I lost half my money, but I didn't lose. I mean, so many people felt I won. So it was like I've never experienced this before. It's either I lose for sure or I win for sure. You know what I mean? I've never really been in this situation. So I still just take responsibility for, hey, you know, I know I could perform better. At 3 years off, I've tried hard to not let layoffs affect me. There's no doubt after 3 years, did I go in? Was I hesitant the first round? There's no doubt. I just was what I didn't want to do is go out and throw a bunch, and then all of a sudden I'm putting my hands on my knees in the 2nd round. You know, I'm really feel good. I hope that I can keep showing it. The week of the fights is trying to learn this. You know, 20 years and I'm still learning. But my conditioning is in a place it's never ever been before. For me to fight that well in a 3rd round, I mean, that should bother the heavyweight division, because I've never been that well off in a 3rd round, ready to go rounds 4 and 5. Basically training for 5-round fights now, so I can really pick it up in the next 3 rounds. You know, for a 3-round fight, I can pick it up, and now I know where my body's at. Getting this fight out of the way, you know, I'm going to pick up as this last fight. I'm going to continue on round 4 or 5, whatever. Go out and start the fight.
Can you share what was going through your mind or your emotions that last fight week? Because when you stood in front of us last time, you were doing your media obligations, but it was very clear you didn't want to speak to us.
It's just the whole USADA thing just bothered me so much. It was just such a dark time for me, the whole situation. You know, I did talk to TSN guys about it. I did kind of say a little bit about it. I just want to first clarify, just so the UFC knows, that I've never been more proud to be a part of the UFC than now. And they didn't ask the doctors to treat me. They had nothing to do with it, and they kind of handed it off to USADA. USADA do its job. My issues was with USADA, and it was what happened after the fact with other fighters. This whole leniency and inconsistency that bothered me, because, you know, I feel most for guys like Tom Lawler and Loyola Machida and Josh Barnett. I mean, these guys had years taken off, and then you see other people having the same issues, getting 6-month suspensions, and he's like, you know, it's just not right. And my situation was pretty messed up, because I did have this full medical staff treating me, and everybody was arguing it. And I can understand USADA could come out and be like, hey, this was an unfortunate situation, you know, this is what happened, but this is our regulations, this has to be it. And just at least to notify it, hey, Ben wasn't cheating. See, everything changed when they started talking about levels of things. When they started saying, oh, well, the levels were low, it didn't matter, you know, for these other people, you know. Well, then mine should have been completely part of it, because then there was no cheating. Everything was regulated. All the testing was done by my doctors. Everything was shown where they're at, why they were doing it. why the therapist couldn't treat me because I had physical conditions, and then when that was fixed, then they could treat me, and by that time USADA had already did everything, and it was just it was a big, you know, I guess it was a challenge. One of the greatest challenges of my life was getting through this, and I did get through it, and I'm strong. I can honestly say I feel better and stronger than I've ever have in my life. Even at 37 years old, the age is just a number right now. At least for the next few years, I know it's going to be that way, because I have never had this kind of conditioning, this strength, and my skill set. The fact that I keep learning at this age. I try to teach all the guys younger than me. Do you guys understand? I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm still learning. And that's because of my coaches, Nelsino Machado with my conditioning, scientist, and Luis Claudio, one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best black belts. Hickson Gracie's second black belt ever. I mean, I'm very, very proud to be in my position. And for me, I have yet to show my best. I know that, and I got to come out and show it. You guys got to see what everybody else in my gym knows.
So where do you feel like you're at in your career? Because I tell you, the last fight week, I thought this is a guy that hates this sport and does not want to be here. Now it's the exact opposite. I feel like you got years left ahead of you.
I love this sport. I mean, this sport has given me a life, you know, and the UFC, I've been under them for almost 10 years, and the life. I know a lot of people have their issues with outside, you know, pay and things like that. For me, I've had a life that I know if it wasn't for MMA, I would be in a factory or dead. I don't know. MMA saved my life, and I'm here to. I feel like God has given me a purpose, and I have to see this through. And I'm not done yet. I'm just really getting started. And for me, it's now or never. Like, we know that. We know where I'm at. Back's against the wall. But you guys have seen me down and out before, but this is different.
Nice. Last thing for me. An unlikely rematch I don't think any of us saw coming. So when they came to you with this name and said, here's the fight we're thinking of, what did you think? Was it something that you wanted? What do you like to match?
It is. It's first rematch of my career.
Wow.
So, you know, I have over 50 mixed martial arts fights, just a professional, and this is my very first rematch. And, yeah, intensity's there.
Is it hard to get motivated?
Absolutely not.
No?
It's not hard for me to get motivated for any fight. I just feel like people understand that my parents tell stories when I was 3-4 years old. I was shadow boxing the air and beating up trees and things like that. Like, it was always a part of me. Like, I was watching Van Damme and Conan and all that as a very young age. And the only thing that I have is I didn't get into this soon enough. I started fighting. My very first fight was at 17 years old. And I just like, wow, I would have started this way sooner. But MMA was pretty new back then. Also for me, it's like, especially with the UFC, I started in 1999, and around 2000, 2001, I'm like, man, I want to make this a career. I love this, and the sport was trying to get banned. And Dana White and the Fertittas come in and bought the UFC, and as far as the Fertittas knew, they could have been throwing away $2 million. And wow, what a thing they turned it into. And it's like, God bless them. People don't realize that nobody else was willing to throw $2 million at it then. They did save the sport. And the reason I'm so proud to be of it, this is a worldwide thing now. ESPN has picked it up. I have never been as proud as I am now to be part of this. That alone is my motivation. And even now, after everything I went through, to get the fan base that people reach out, send me from Japan and around Asia and all around North America and Europe, and just like, wow, this is a whole world sport. So unlike anything else, it just makes me really proud. I'm ready to perform. I know what the fans want to see, and I know I can give it.
Sure. A few years ago, you had kind of opened up about some mental health problems that you were dealing with. We recently saw Tyson Fury, the world heavyweight boxing champion, do the same thing. Very courageous. I was wondering if you could speak on that at all.
As far as what exactly? I heard a little bit about it, but like what exactly?
Like what sort of things you've dealt with, like depression, anxiety, anger issues, all the above?
Anger issues is with me since I can first remember. I'm naturally a very angry and intense person. I carry that with me. It fuels me. So it's just part of our family. If you just got to understand the Rothwells and my mom and dad and how we were raised, and God bless them, but they used discipline. With my mom's quote was, she didn't use pine because it broke too fast. She had an old board and she used it. She hit me everywhere but my ass. It wasn't child abuse back then, but it made me who I am. Like it's part of it. Like, I grew up tough. Like, you had to be. And my problems come from, I don't know, I went through a lot. There was a horrific car accident I was in, it's my story, that my head hit the dash, my friend died next to me, I had 11 broken ribs. The car wreck, it totally changed my life. And I am been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism because of it. They checked. It's just a lot of things that have been wrong that I've been dealing with. I've had low testosterone even in my early 20s. Obviously there's a problem here. That in turn causes mental health issues like depression. Yes. After Junior Dos Santos, I had to have a knee surgery. So I went from training every day nearly to keep. That's why I'm here right now. I'm able to train. I keep my training up. That keeps my body regulated. I was laid out for about 3 months in the bed after knee surgery. It ruined me. My testosterone went under. I got severely depressed. Then I was dealing with the loss. I was almost at a title shot, and I was crushed. And they were really worried about me. And my wife was the one that really, took me to get treatment and trying to get through this whole thing. And they were getting me fixed. Then the therapist started working with me. Then the USADA thing happened, and then here we go. This might be the thing that really pushed me off the cliff. And somehow and through all of that, I found a motivation that I've been fighting my whole life. And why am I going to stop now? And there's just something inside of me that just said, I'm going to get through this. And I'm going to show the world who I really am and what I can do. And that's been driving me ever since.
That's why this meant so much to you. You were trying to get better, and people were blaming you for cheating.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. There are a lot of people who have their own different things they're going through, and I feel like somebody in your position they could benefit from words of encouragement. Anything that you would like to speak on, that resilience piece, how you got through it?
We take a lot of things for granted. I could be a multimillionaire. I could have been a professional football player. Who knows? My life could have been totally different. But I have the life that I have, and every day I wake up and I just remember to wake up and be thankful for what I do have. I have an incredible wife. I have a lot of loving people around me. God gave me that to make me be smart enough to open a gym that I've watched help change lots of people's lives, children and adults, and it's something that you can't put a dollar amount on. And that gym also got me through that 3-year period. And because of that and how many blessings I have, I was like, I had to remember what I had, and it made me pick myself up every day and keep fighting for what I am.